afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, my boy Lane. What's happening, Lane?
Hi, everybody.
Man, I'm so happy to have you back.
I know, I'm so happy. I've been hyped. I've been ready to come back.
You ready?
So excited, yes.
That's what I'm saying, man. He's got so many things going on. Did a whole bunch of traveling the other day, and now getting ready for a good event. We'll talk about that possibly later. And let me give a shout out to my boys over there at Stan's Auto, man. All your automobile needs, go visit my friends at Stan's Auto 2 location, New Iberia, 1 in Lafayette. Go check them out. Love them over there. Man, so the big topic of the, I guess the last 3 or 4 days is this indictment on the Attorney General of Louisiana, which is absolutely political lawfare. This is becoming the norm. This is out of control. You rarely get the Supreme. I don't know of another case in Louisiana's history where the Supreme Court comes in and pauses a certain thing. But I'm glad they did, because it made sense. Now, I don't legally, you can argue whether what the Supreme Court's done is valid or not. Well, that'll be a debate for another day. I think it was 4-3 decision to pause it. Doesn't mean it's going away. I mean, she's still indicted. She's still facing those ridiculous charges of malfeasance. Malfeasance is such a joke in Louisiana now. It's used for, if you don't like something, trust me, I know. If you don't like the politics of somebody else, oh, malfeasance. Well, I mean, they might have sneezed, in church 5 years ago, and we can't get them for sneezing in church, so let's make up malfeasance. Yeah, malfeasance. That's what we should do. Man, malfeasance was designed to prohibit conduct such as taking bribes, getting kickbacks, using your position for personal gain. That is malfeasance, not political witch hunting. Not, I can't get them on a misdemeanor, so what am I going to... It's just what they did to Trump. It's exactly what they did to Trump. My goodness. Stretching misdemeanors into felonies because you couldn't have brought the misdemeanors in the time period that you're supposed to do. Sound familiar? It does to me. But back to the AG. I think, here's what I would say about this. If you want to know why, if you want to understand why so many Americans have lost faith in our justice system, man, you can look no further than what happened last week in our state, in the state of Louisiana. I mean, the Attorney General of Louisiana was indicted on 16 criminal counts. 16. Now, the Supreme Court issued what's called a stay, which is, it paused her getting arrested, basically. It paused her from having a mugshot. That's ultimately what the stay did, is it ultimately prevented the AG from having a mugshot. Okay. She shouldn't have a mugshot. She should be indicted. A lot of people in Louisiana shouldn't be indicted on malfeasance that are indicted on malfeasance. I can think of an example. But, the Supreme Court just didn't say that, it's about... They didn't agree one way or the other. They just issued a stay. But if you look at some of the dissent, it's pretty interesting. This is not normal. This is not normal. Of course, it's not normal for the elected officials to abuse their power and indict political opponents based on malfeasance, which is now the most abused quote unquote crime, because I don't even know if it's a crime anymore. It's just political hacking. We don't like the guy. He hurt my feelings 4 years ago. She hurt my feelings when she said that she was going to enforce the law. Trump hurt my feelings. Oh, I don't know, because he's Trump. I mean, this is so dumb. You can't beat him in policy, so you got to lie and you got to make up things, and then you got to abuse the system to get indictments, which you can indict a ham sandwich. You can indict a rock outside in a rock garden if you'd like to. It's a joke. It shouldn't be a joke. It's actually a very serious process that was created by serious people for serious situations. And now the indictment tool, like, be a man. be or a woman, whatever we have, be a grown up over there, DA. If you think you have enough to charge our attorney general, issue a bill of information. But you don't because you hide behind a grand jury. And that's the tactic when Louisiana politicians now, Democrats and rhinos, is specifically, or just people that abuse their power, take political party out of it. But that's what you have now. It's the indictment. It's the process. They know very well. But look, DA, if you think Liz Murrow committed 16 crimes, 8 counts of malfeasance, well then you bow up and put your reasons on in writing and stop hiding behind a grand jury like a little coward, hiding behind a grand jury, knowing good and dang well you can't play the transcript. You can't. They literally go in there when a DA goes into a grand jury. They go in there and tell them what they want, and the grand jury just says yes. They all work together. It is absolutely one of the most corrupt machines in Louisiana history. Thought we were done with that. Oh no. I mean, follow your leaders over there in Washington. That's the Trump way. You can't beat them on common sense and on policy, and you get your little feelings hurt. Your feelings are hurt. Well, let's just go indict people. This is getting out of control. The Supreme Court, some of it said the indictment appears to turn the law on its head. Yeah, it does, and you're going to see more and more of these cases. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're going to see more and more of these cases with the judiciary feeling that way, if politicians keep abusing their power and arresting people for no reason and indicting people because they have a political tiff with the other person, which is so childish, so immature, so anti-American. You should be under the jail for doing those things, for abusing your power like that. I mean, you could go as far as hanging lane, but that would be too much. Eye for eye, that doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? Public hanging. Why? You were advocating for public hanging in this? I'm just putting words in your mouth? Okay. He's laughing at me. All right. Now, look, though. Those aren't like... When I quoted the Supreme Court, again, we're talking about AG Liz Murrow. Look, solid person, good head on her shoulders, smart as can be, has fought the fights that we as Louisianans have wanted our state to fight, have defended the values of Americans, yes, but of Louisianans to the T. And then you got these rogue politicians in New Orleans, and there's rogue politicians at the local level all over this state abusing their power, indicting people on malfeasance when they have no evidence, and all they do is want to hurt. What they're trying to do to Liz Murrow in New Orleans is horrible. It's not, I don't even have the words. I was going to say it's not professional. Well, it's not professional. It's way more than not professional. But, some of the sentiment of the Supreme Court, again, all of this turns the law on its head. Because it does. I mean, that's not the words of a talk show host that I'm saying, or some kind of, GOP think tank. I mean, these are the words of the highest court in Louisiana. And not of all the members. It was very much split, 4-3. But regardless, and that's all that is to prevent a mugshot. She still has to go through all this stuff, and they know that. The politicians in New Orleans know that. They know the game, just like rhinos in other parishes close to here and others, and in New York and in Washington, D.C., of what they did, Atlanta, what they did with Trump. They all know the game. They know it's a 2 or 3 year process. It's a game, and it's a joke, and it's pathetic, and it has no place in America. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Hey guys, man, if you're tired of just, treating symptoms and you're ready to find out what's really going on, call my friend over there, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Through wellness and functional medicine, Dr. Kevin focuses on identifying the root cause so you can feel your best. Hey, look, if you're ready to take control of your health, call my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. That's 983-CARE. 983-CARE. Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Start feeling better from the inside out. Go tell my friend I said hello, and Lane said hello, and all the crew. Let's get back into this absolutely pathetic, ridiculous. I wish I had stronger words that I could say on the radio. If I could think of them, I would. This situation with Attorney General Liz Murrill out of Orleans. This is just one example of several, a few in the state of Louisiana, where you have local district attorneys' offices being political and using their political offices, their very entrusted offices of justice of all. We're tired. It's just another example, and we are tired of it, of local district attorneys abusing their power, using their position to level political scores, wanting to embarrass, wanting to hit hard, wanting to really strike a blow politically. Well, do that in campaign ads. Y'all have no problem with running negative ads. None. Go beat her. Go beat her in the political sphere if that's what you want. Same thing for all these other local DAs. Come beat us in the beat people in the political sphere. You can't, so you try to eliminate the threat. That's what these Democrat-minded and Republican in name only, which are worse than the Democrats in this regard. Worse than the Democrats in this regard. Okay, political lawfare specifically. I mean, if you want to be Fannie Willis, go be Fannie Willis. Hot Atlanta is looking. You want to be Letitia James up there in New York? Well, go be Letitia James. But take your nonsense with you to New York. They love that political lawfare up there. Alvin Bragg? You want to be like Alvin Bragg in New York? Yeah. That's what the Orleans Parish grand jury and other grand juries in this state that are abusing their power at the direction of district attorneys, elected people elected to supposedly try to fight actual crimes. I mean, look, this story about Liz Murrill is not about Liz Murrill. I mean, I love Liz, and I think that she's a class act with integrity and hardworking, pretty straight shooter. She's been on the show a gazillion times. It's been a while though. Maybe we'll get her back on, or ask her. But look, very, very good attorney. Very good attorney general, in my opinion. I mean, fighting the fights. Look, a lot of folks sometimes say, well, maybe she's political. Yeah, I get it. I would, you don't normally see the AG as political as governor. Well, I don't want to say that Governor Landry was all political when he was the AG, and you can definitely argue that. Or was it that he was advocating for, I think it might have just been timing. I think he was advocating when he was the AG for conservative principles. Now, you can have your own opinion. I get all that. But if you look back, I think, and it was pretty strong. So with Liz coming in, I saw a lot of that more in the beginning. But remember, she came from that office, and it was the time of the day. That was the fight of the day. So you kind of seen her switch tactics a little bit as you evolve. I mean, how you deal with the public, how you deal with colleagues, how you deal with your people you work with, you serve, the folks you serve, which is outside of God, your number two. That's your number two, But here we go. So here's what happened. I spent the whole segment and half of this with talking about just kind of, necessarily the outrage, but there's some outrage in the state, and there should be outrage all over the country. I did see this topic pop up on some national outlets, as you can imagine. It's such a disgrace And it's not just the Orleans district attorney. I am telling you, it's district attorneys in other parishes too. This is what the AG did. This was her horrible crime. She sent a letter, okay? She sent a letter warning New Orleans officials they could face legal consequences if they acted outside state law during a dispute over the restructuring of the Orleans Parish Clerk of Court. Now look, that's a legal position. That's an opinion. That is a legal opinion based on legal advice and her staff, and that is nothing wrong with that. People have disputes all the time. Man, whether you agreed with her legal position or not on that particular issue, that's exactly the kind of dispute we would expect to be fought in a civil court with declaratory judgments, with some civil injunctions, if that makes sense. Handle it in the legislature, handle it at the ballot box. But instead of doing all that, what does this district attorney and this grand jury do? The same thing as another district attorney and grand jury in this state is doing, and probably elsewhere. Look at New York. Look at Atlanta. Look at Orleans. Look at other examples in this state where local district attorneys are abusing their power and just tagging everything as malfeasance. It's the new political tactic, and it's disgusting. 16 counts criminal indictment of our Attorney General. That's where the Americans start asking a pretty simple question across our country when they look at Trump and Liz, people across our state. We start asking a very, very simple question. Guys, are we prosecuting crimes or are we criminalizing politics? Because it sure feels like we're criminalizing politics. Because those two are those are two very different things. Very different things. When criminal law becomes another political tool, everybody loses. Everybody. Republicans lose, Democrats lose. Most importantly, the public loses confidence that justice is blind. In the state of Louisiana, I can name at least 2, maybe 3 district attorneys in this state where they don't care about the perception that justice is blind. They just want the political wins. They just want the short-term political wins. They want to abuse their power. They want to defame their political opponents in a long, slow process. The judiciary, very slow, very slow. They know. But look around this country. How many times have we seen political disagreements become criminal investigations? That's what we do now. How many times have prosecutors stretched statutes in ways nobody imagined years earlier? Look at what they did to Trump in New York. It was a misdemeanor, and the misdemeanor had already expired. They couldn't get him on the misdemeanor, nor was there any facts to support it, but they couldn't get him on the misdemeanor because it was expired. So what do? They find a felony. They stretch. That they should win an Olympic medal for how much stretching they did on that misdemeanor to turn it into a felony. Seem familiar? Seem familiar? It does to me. But how many times have headlines become the real objective, instead of convictions? All right, guys, we'll be right back. We'll wrap a bow on this topic. I can't wait. Phone lines are down today, but you know what? It's all good. I'm so happy to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Monday. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Hey guys, man, if you're tired of just, treating symptoms and you're ready to find out what's really going on, call my friend over there, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic through Wellness and Functional Medicine. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Hey guys, man, if you're tired of just, treating symptoms and you're ready to find out what's really going on, call my friend over there, Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Through wellness and functional medicine, Dr. Kevin focuses on identifying the root cause so you can feel your best. Hey, look, if you're ready to take control of your health, call my friends over there at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. That's 983-CARE. 983-CARE. Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Start feeling better from the inside out. Go tell my friend I said hello, and Lane said hello, and all the crew. Let's get back into this absolutely pathetic, ridiculous. I wish I had stronger words that I could say on the radio. If I could think of them, I would. This situation with Attorney General Liz Murrill out of Orleans. This is just one example of several, a few in the state of Louisiana, where you have local district attorneys' offices being political and using their political offices, their very entrusted offices of justice of all. We're tired. It's just another example, and we are tired of it, of local district attorneys abusing their power, using their position to level political scores, wanting to embarrass, wanting to hit hard, wanting to really strike a blow politically. Well, do that in campaign ads. Y'all have no problem with running negative ads. None. Go beat her. Go beat her in the political sphere if that's what you want. Same thing for all these other local DAs. Come beat us in the beat people in the political sphere. You can't, so you try to eliminate the threat. That's what these Democrat-minded and Republican in name only, which are worse than the Democrats in this regard. Worse than the Democrats in this regard. Okay, political lawfare specifically. I mean, if you want to be Fannie Willis, go be Fannie Willis. Hot Atlanta is looking. You want to be Letitia James up there in New York? Well, go be Letitia James. But take your nonsense with you to New York. They love that political lawfare up there. Alvin Bragg? You want to be like Alvin Bragg in New York? Yeah. That's what the Orleans Parish grand jury and other grand juries in this state that are abusing their power at the direction of district attorneys, elected people elected to supposedly try to fight actual crimes. I mean, look, this story about Liz Murrill is not about Liz Murrill. I mean, I love Liz, and I think that she's a class act with integrity and hardworking, pretty straight shooter. She's been on the show a gazillion times. It's been a while, though. Maybe I'll get her back on, or ask her. But look, very, very good attorney. Very good attorney general, in my opinion. I mean, fighting the fights. Look, a lot of folks sometimes say, well, maybe she's political. Yeah, I get it. I would, you don't normally see the AG as political as well. I don't want to say that Governor Landry was all political when he was the AG, and you can definitely argue that. Or was it that he was advocating for, I think it might have just been timing. I think he was advocating when he was the AG for conservative principles. Now, you can have your own opinion. I get all that. But if you look back, I think, and it was pretty strong. So with Liz coming in, I saw a lot of that more in the beginning. But remember, she came from that office, and it was the time of the day. That was the fight of the day. So you kind of seen her switch tactics a little bit as you evolve. I mean, how you deal with the public, how you deal with colleagues, how you deal with your people you work with, you serve, the folks you serve, which is outside of God, your number two. That's your number two, But here we go. So here's what happened. I spent the whole segment and half of this with talking about just kind of, necessarily the outrage, but there's some outrage in the state, and there should be outrage all over the country. I did see this topic pop up on some national outlets, as you can imagine. It's such a disgrace And it's not just the Orleans district attorney. I am telling you, it's district attorneys in other parishes too. This is what the AG did. This was her horrible crime. She sent a letter, okay? She sent a letter warning New Orleans officials they could face legal consequences if they acted outside state law during a dispute over the restructuring of the Orleans Parish Clerk of Court. Now, look, that's a legal position. That's an opinion. That is a legal opinion based on legal advice and her staff, and that is nothing wrong with that. People have disputes all the time. Man, whether you agreed with her legal position or not on that particular issue, that's exactly the kind of dispute we would expect to be fought in a civil court with declaratory judgments, with some civil injunctions, if that makes sense. Handle it in the legislature, handle it at the ballot box. But instead of doing all that, what does this district attorney and this grand jury do? The same thing as another district attorney and grand jury in this state is doing, and probably elsewhere. Look at New York. Look at Atlanta. Look at Orleans. Look at other examples in this state where local district attorneys are abusing their power and just tagging everything as malfeasance. It's the new political tactic, and it's disgusting. 16 counts criminal indictment of our Attorney General. That's where the Americans start asking a pretty simple question across our country when they look at Trump and Liz, people across our state. We start asking a very, very simple question. Guys, are we prosecuting crimes or are we criminalizing politics? Because it sure feels like we're criminalizing politics. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Go visit my friends over there at Dino's Pizza of the Month, the Poirier, the Dustin Poirier Pizza. Man, go show my friend over there some love, both Tim and Dustin. But also, man, what a great establishment. You know, Dino's 3 locations, one on Bertrand. Don't you be messing with that now. Come on. Bertrand, College Saloon, and in Henderson. Man, 3 great locations. Three great locations serving great people. All righty. Let's see here. So, Lane, I got Lane this dude. He's been so quiet, you know. I get it. I appreciate you, Lane. But man, you've been watching this thing with the Attorney General. It's kind of new, and you've been traveling. But man, what's your whole take on all this?
So it really frustrates me because I don't understand what the whole problem is. When you look at, so we elect officials to go to the legislature. They pass a law.
Yeah.
The law passes, and the Attorney General tells the officials in New Orleans, "Hey, we passed a law. Follow the law." If you go and hit your brother, and your mama tells you, "Stop hitting your brother," can you then sue your mama? I don't think so.
Mom, you getting sued.
I don't think that makes sense. I don't think the grand jury is coming for your mama.
What a great, yeah, of course. You're a great, what a great analogy. That is so true. But man, it's kind of pathetic if when you're learning civics, when you're learning, because you know you're in school and you got great things ahead of you. They teach you probably fair, you know, justice is blind type stuff. You know, it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. You go to court, you're going to be treated fairly the same way no matter what. That's what you were taught, right?
That's exactly what we were taught.
And this is the opposite. These guys in grand juries, and look, we say the grand jury, I get it. No grand jury can operate without the district attorney. Don't let them tell you otherwise, okay? Don't let them tell you otherwise. Who's presenting the case? It's the DA's office, man. So, look, and we're talking about Liz Murrill, which is a horrible situation for our state. She'll be fine, okay, because people see through this nonsense. But this happens. This is a growing trend in Louisiana. This is not something that we all grew up with. This is not something that was something more than 3 or 4 years ago. Ever since they started doing it with Trump, Ever since they started doing this lawfare with Trump and weaponizing the federal DOJ, we've had politicians here in Louisiana act exactly like Fannie Willis in Atlanta, exactly like Alvin Bragg in New York, exactly like Letitia James in New York against Trump. You got district attorneys running. That it's only like two, okay, in the state. There's 64 parishes, only like two, maybe three, maybe a third one. But regardless, when you have people that want to settle political scores through indictment, man, that is wrong. I mean, this and a malfeasance. Okay, 8 counts of malfeasance for Liz Murrell. Okay, I mean, yeah, maybe they were intimidated. I don't know, but they're going off of no facts, none. They have no proof of harm. They have nothing, but they don't need it. You don't need proof of harm for an indictment. You don't need really anything. You just need the district attorney to tell the grand jury what the district attorney wants. That's how grand juries work. The other way grand juries work, let's say the DA has this other issue that he's like, oh, maybe it is political and I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. So I'll just bring it to the grand jury. And you know what they do? They tell the grand jury not to indict. Wash your hands like Pontius Pilate. Oh, it's okay. No harm. Not me. It wasn't me. It was the grand jury. Well, you are the grand jury, knucklehead Fred. Jeez. Anywho. But they know. They know what they're doing to Attorney General Liz Murrell. They want to create the television sound bites. That's what these, well, in this case, straight up Democrats, but this is what rhinos and Democrats do. And even if the case eventually falls apart, which it will, the damage again has already been done, like we said last segment. And that should be the concern of every Louisiana citizen right now. If we can allow district attorneys to go and hide behind grand juries, to just willy-nilly charge people and indict people off of malfeasance, stretching that statute to, like, Stretch Armstrong would have to probably sue for, intellectual property rights in how far they're stretching. These district attorneys are in Louisiana, okay, are stretching. It's only 2 that I know of. Stretching the law. And why not? Malfeasance. Well, let me lick my finger. Let me put my finger in the air. Where's the wind blowing? We have no crime. Malfeasance. I know, Lane. We'll charge him with malfeasance. Man, it is a joke. It is a joke. And it's a joke for all the real malfeasance cases. Like, golly. You know, talking about people getting money back, kickbacks, giving their partners deals and stuff. That is malfeasance. But what we're seeing in this state is a joke. It's a joke. And it's pathetic. And these folks shouldn't have law license, much less be elected. That's like really, because it's so egregious. It's such a disrespect to the profession of law. It's such a disrespect to the people that these district's attorneys serve. You know, how much violent crime is in Orleans? Hey, DA, why don't you go indict some gang members? You know, how much crime is in some other areas of the state where a district attorney is choosing to not fight those crimes, but instead use their political office for political warfare, lawfare. That's sad. You know, I mean, like Americans as a whole, we believe, at least we did. I'm struggling, but man, people believe in equal justice under the law. I still believe that. I know that we believe that, but in these situations, because it ain't just Liz in Louisiana, it really is a hit on the process. And especially when you got folks that you should be going after. But if an elected official, man, look, elected official steals taxpayer money, prosecute them. If they take a bribe, prosecute them. If they commit fraud, prosecute them. I get it. Nobody's arguing otherwise. But when political disputes become criminal cases simply because simply because one side has the power to bring charges, we've just crossed a very dangerous line. And that's not accountability. That is lawfare. Stick around, guys. We'll be right around the corner. Hour number 2 is going to be great. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, hour number 2. I remain your very, very grateful host. And in studio with me still, laying over there, just rocking it out, man. He'll be right back on the mic. Certainly appreciate that. You should see all these buttons he's pressing. It's amazing. Anywho, hey guys, let me tell y'all about my friends over there at Audubon Home Health. Look, you've been through some things. You got surgery, you're recovering. Instead of recovering in a hospital, recover at your house. Recover in the comfort of your own home. Call my friends over there at Audubon Home Health. Audubon Home Health. And you start your recovery today in peace and comfort. Audubon Home Health, love you guys, appreciate you. All right, let's switch gears here. I think we covered the Liz Murrell situation and the disgusting lawfare that it's pathetic, actually, pathetic lawfare that we're seeing in our state, the state of Louisiana, and because it ain't just Orleans Parish, it's at least one more. So anyway. Look, let's go. Let's switch gears here. We'll go to Haiti. What is going on in Haiti? Why are we talking Haiti? Well, let's talk about it. You know, Lane, Washington has a remarkable talent. A remarkable talent. It really does. Really does. It creates a temporary program. It refuses to make a permanent decision. 20 years later, everybody acts shocked that there's a problem, and that's exactly what's happening with these with the TPS, temporary protected status here in immigration. So this week, a Republican congressman from Florida, I'm going to butcher his name, Carlos Gimenez, he broke with the Trump administration. Ooh. He said deporting Haitians with TPS, temporary protected status, back to Haiti right now, just right now. He said that would be a huge mistake because Haiti is, in his words, a failed state. All right. So we got this temporary protective status that we started. At the time, a lot of us thought Band-Aid and not fixing the problem. Didn't realize it would end up being such a debacle as it is now. Man, I guess hindsight's 2020. We could have saw this coming. Could have seen this coming. But we can separate the politics from the reality. I think that's wise. First, Haiti is a disaster. The congressman's right. I mean, I don't think it's any kind of spin. Violent gangs control much of the country. The government, kind of like New Orleans, gangs control much of the. I'm kidding. I'm going to New Orleans soon, and I hope to have a fun time. Hope to have a fun time and safe time. But in national level, even our own State Department warns Americans from traveling to Haiti. So it's not like this one congressman in Florida's way out there here, okay? But those are the facts. Now, second, temporary protected status is exactly what it sounds like. Temporary. Temporary. It's not permanent, not forever. Temporary. And that's where Washington has made another mess. Congress, they actually did something. They created TPS for emergencies. That's fine, okay? That temporary relief for temporary emergencies. Think about it. War, earthquakes, government collapse, situations basically where sending people home would be extraordinarily dangerous. All right, I guess 20 years ago, that would be a reasonable policy. I don't know if that passes today. One, because it's hard to pass anything in Congress. I mean, look at the Save America Act, which is, boy, such an easy one. Such an easy one, man. But regardless, I don't know if this TPS would pass today. because we know what we know now. But I get it. Reasonable policy back then. Maybe a reasonable policy today. Maybe, I don't know. But it seems like it could be an issue. Because nobody in Washington ever seems like this is the main issue. Nobody over there in the land of Oz ever seems interested in answering the next question. When does temporary end? I do a lot of family law in my practice, and I always say, oh, this is temporary. But temporary becomes, I say this all the time, temporary is temporary, but temporary can be permanent, can become permanent really quick in family law cases, for example, child custody cases. Same thing can be said here. Temporary protected status. It's more than 20 years old, I believe. Like, is that temporary? 5 years? Is that temporary? What is temporary protected status? What does the T mean? I know what it says, temporary. Is that 5 years? How about 10? How about 20 years? Is it forever? Are you on temporary protected status indefinitely? That is probably technically the rule right now. Kind of a crazy rule. Seems like you would want to check on the status periodically here, you know. But nobody knows. Every administration kicks the can down the road. You know, one president extends TPS. The next president tries to end TPS. Somebody files a lawsuit. A judge issues an order. We've seen this. Another court, well, they just overturn it. Years pass. Nobody fixes the problem. Nobody fixes the law. Sound familiar? We can apply that to so many things. Washington's favorite strategy, I am starting to be convinced, is very simple. Just don't solve the problem. Just don't solve the problem. Just manage the crisis until somebody else gets elected. That is their problem. That is their solution to the problems. Right now, we're talking about TPS. You can apply it to anything you want. Just manage the crisis until the next guy or gal comes in. Meanwhile, real people are stuck in the middle. Many Haitians with TPS, man, they got jobs. They're working in hospitals. They're caring for senior citizens. They're working in manufacturing. They're paying taxes. I mean, those are all facts too. You can't ignore that. You know, we shouldn't be afraid of facts. We don't have to pretend those contributions don't exist. It also doesn't have to mean what we're doing is right. And sometimes you got to make, you know, I hear liberals and rhinos say this all the time. Well, it's kind of the same thing. I hear these guys say all the time, well, we have to have tough discussions. They usually mean they want to tax you, okay? But we could say the same thing here. We have to have tough discussions. We have to have tough discussions in our big tent with the blue ribbon panel and all the other buzzwords that comes into play. But we'll talk about all of that when we get back. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, I tell you what, me and my friend Lane, we're having a fun time, and I certainly hope you are as well, guys. And remember, look, if you're tired of just treating symptoms and you're ready to find out what's really going on, you know I want you to call. Call my friend Dr. Kevin at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Through wellness and functional medicine, Dr. Kevin focuses on identifying the root cause so you can actually feel your best. If you're ready to take control of your health, call 983-CARE. That's 983-CARE. Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. Start feeling better from the inside out. Call my friends over at Dr. Kevin's Wellness Clinic. All right, man. Got a lot of stuff to go over. Let's finish this topic, though. I mean, look, you're seeing a lot of push for this temporary protective status to be revisited. It probably should be revisited. I'm not criticizing. Well, I kind of am criticizing the folks that created this. It's not necessarily that they created the temporary protective status. My issue is you had no oversight of it. You just created it and then like boop, willy-nilly, which goes to show and goes to prove what I say all the time and what we say all the time. When you grow power, now this is not necessarily growing power. This is just an example of Washington not being able to inspect what they expect, not because they're bad people, it's because it's a big country. Okay, and that's why our founders knew most of these issues got to be handled at the state level. Immigration is not one of them. I get it, all right. So anyway, but there's no oversight. Congress just passed the temporary protective status and didn't define how long it is, didn't create real, like honest, objective check-ins. It's just like, hey, you're here, cool. You're in protected status. Have all the babies you can. By the way, I was going to go this later, Lane, but we were talking about in the break. So the Supreme Court, you might remember, had just issued a ruling, and they struck down President Trump. And look how I'm saying it. They struck down President Trump's executive order, basically overturning birthright citizenship. Right now, as many of us know, if you were born in the continental, or if you're born on American soil, you're an American citizen. The Supreme Court 5-4 ruled against that, ruled against the executive order. That's why I'm saying it like that, because Justice Kavanaugh was one of the five. It was 5-4. And as I appreciate, and we can look into this a little bit more, but as I appreciate it, Justice Kavanaugh, his issue was with procedure and not necessarily substance. What I mean by that, the procedure for passing laws in immigration is via statute. That's when lawmakers actually act like grown-ups and discuss the issue at hand and create legislation like I'm a bill on Capitol Hill, like that little cartoon. And and that's how you're supposed to do it. It goes to the president's desk and they either sign or veto it. And there's some other processes after that. But as I appreciate Justice Kavanaugh's concurring opinion, it seems like he would be okay with overruling, basically, overturning the policy of your anchor babies, basically. And he would be okay with it if it was through a statute, not the executive order. So it wasn't that he was disagreeing with what Trump did. He was disagreeing on how Trump did that. I can respect that. You know, you got an executive order. I mean, we like the executive order here on the conservative side and the Republican side. We love that executive order. But that can work both ways. So, you know, I'm okay with the Supreme Court saying, because I look, if somehow he could get Congress, I mean, we have a majority Republican in the House and the Senate, pass a law overturning birthright citizenship. It seems like you would have a 5-4 majority in your favor on this one. Seems like it. So I would love to see that. But this is totally different than the Haitian stuff here in South Florida, you know. And I'm using Haiti, Haitians, Haiti. We're talking about Haiti. We're talking about this Republican in South Florida that is a Republican. He's not necessarily challenging. He just disagrees with the deportation of these folks. Trump administration says TPS is over. That temporary part it's done, expired. But man, look, you know, we can juggle all this. You know, you can believe America needs secure borders, and you can believe immigration law should actually mean something. You probably should believe that. You can believe criminals here illegally should be deported. Yeah. And you can also believe that Congress has done an absolutely terrible job creating a legal immigration system that is clear, that is consistent, that is predictable, and that is immune to these political flares of emotion. These positions are not contradictory, what I just rattled off. They're called common sense in most corners. And man, here's what I think frustrates a lot of people. A lot of people across our country. You know, we don't have really an immigration policy. What we have in America is an immigration improvisation. Okay, we improvise on everything on this. Executive order, lawsuit, court ruling, appeal, the executive order, another lawsuit, another court ruling, appeal, Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what we have. That is dysfunction. That is far from governing. And every few years, you got some folks standing in front of cameras acting like this latest court case is the biggest immigration story in history. No, it's just the latest chapter in a debate. It's the latest chapter in a problem Washington has refused to solve in decades. President Trump is the only president in a long time, if ever, that has been has made such a concerted effort to protect our sovereignty, protect our borders, and deport illegal immigrants. The guy's just following the law. Now, look, if he starts doing that in Louisiana, he's going to get indicted for malfeasance. I'm telling you, Trump, stay away from Louisiana. You're going to have a district attorney in Louisiana. I know two of them that will definitely, you're doing your job. That's malfeasance in Louisiana. You can't do that. Don't do any projects in Louisiana. It's malfeasance. And don't do your job in Louisiana. That's malfeasance. I'm trying to look out for our president here. But here's the deal back to Haiti, okay? Man, if Haiti truly remains too dangerous for people to return, Congress, debate that. Debate that openly and decide what the law ought to be. But in the meantime, while you're twiddling your thumbs, we have a president that actually wants to do his job. So do something. I mean, if you feel TPS is being abused as a permanent program, which it is, then we should have people creating laws changing that. This Congress is lazy like every other Congress. The executive branch is just different because they're doing something. And you could argue Obama did a lot of he did a ton of executive orders, probably because Congress wouldn't act. Congress was divided 6 out of 8 years when he was the president. Now, the 2 years that he wasn't, guess what happened? They passed landmark legislation, such as Obamacare, things like that. They did it through budget reconciliation. Sound familiar? Republicans in Washington? Come on now. But TPS is being abused as a permanent program, okay? Congress should fix it. Do your job. Vote. Show up. Take responsibility. Stop hiding behind judges and executive orders. I think here's what I think most Americans actually believe on this, okay? Secure the border. Secure the border. Enforce the law. Deport violent criminals. Make a system where you are deporting illegal immigration or illegal immigrants. And the president's doing that. And he's doing it on a tiered approach. Be compassionate where compassion is appropriate. Stop pretending those goals cannot exist together. They absolutely can. This president, if he was given a shot, and I think people are starting to see it, is juggling both. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how that plays out. You gotta juggle a lot. I guess maybe there's a lot of Haiti voters or sympathizers in this particular congressman's district. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing that play out. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, we are broadcasting, we're broadcasting from the KPL studios, also on rumble.com. Check us out at rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. Shout out to our KLFY Plus viewing audience. Hey guys, looking for luxury, looking for safety in a dealership that puts customers first? Visit Giles Volvo Cars here in Lafayette. Man, whether you're shopping for a new Volvo or you're looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle, or maybe you expect service from factory-trained technicians at their best, the Giles team is ready to help. Stop by their showroom on South City Parkway or see their inventory online over there at Giles Volvo. Experience the Volvo difference at Giles Volvo Cars, where exceptional vehicles meet exceptional service. Go visit them at gilesvolvocars.com. Go visit my friends over there at Giles Auto. I love it. Giles Volvo and Auto. How about that, huh? I can just kind of tongue twist that. I love it over there. Very, very, very good, folks, my man. All right, we're going to go to, I want to talk about the governor of Pennsylvania a little bit and talk about his his recent interviews. Okay, so here's the deal. One of the most, but first though, we were talking in the break. You had mentioned something about a Haiti. So where was this at now?
So this was in Pennsylvania. There was a Haitian immigrant who
Okay.
came here on TPS, who was a commercial truck driver.
All right.
So he got his license, what's believed to be illegally,
Yeah.
and he came in here. We had Officer Michael E. Pereira Jr., who was 44. He was conducting a commercial vehicle inspection along Interstate 81 on Wednesday morning when another semi truck left the roadway, struck his marked patrol vehicle, and the truck he was inspecting for hitting the trooper. According to Pennsylvania State Police, both semi trucks caught on fire after the crash. Pereira later died in a local hospital.
Oof. So you had the officer that actually he passed away after being hit, right?
Yes, and he had just moved back home to take care of his mom, who was at the time getting cancer treatment.
Okay.
So he moved back just to take care of her and then gets hit.
Oh, the officer did?
Yeah, the officer.
Oh, wow. So the officer moved back to take care of his mom. So there's a person on temporary protective status from Haiti that was pulled over and hit this officer, killed him. And look, not all TPS Haitians are violent or even bad people, but at the same time, but for this person being here, that wouldn't have happened. And that's sad. It's very sad to see, especially a state trooper who has, presumably given his career and his life to the profession. Look, let's switch gears real quick. Let's go to Pennsylvania. All right, man. One of you may have kept up with the Democrat governor over there, Josh Shapiro. If Josh Shapiro was the vice president nominee with Harris, I don't think she would have won necessarily, but I think she probably would have done better in Pennsylvania.
I think she would have done much better. I don't know why she picked Crazy Tim Walz.
Like for real, what does he give her?
Nobody knows. The reason why she didn't pick him was because he was pro-Israel, and she needed the anti-Israel vote.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, how'd that go? Most people support Israel. I mean, I know the extremos don't, but anybody paying attention does. But I think it's pretty interesting because something, we talked about a whole bunch of things that happened over the weekend, but one of the things is what came from this Democrat. And that's, again, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. Now, he was on Bill Maher probably 6-7 months ago, and he went about as left as I've ever seen him. Now, Bill Maher is actually a very reasonable Democrat, not an extremo at all, calls out the extreme left all the time, was one of the only comedians on the left or commentators on the left that actually used the phrase radical Islamic terrorists when all of that was being debated. So not a very, very extreme person. But Governor Shapiro went on Bill Maher 6, 7, 8 months ago, and he was hitting all the left-wing talking points, speaking exactly like a candidate for the nomination of president for the Democrat Party. But he went back to kind of his older ways, his normal ways. Remember, Pennsylvania is kind of an interesting state politically. You got John Fetterman over there. You had several governors from Pennsylvania. Several Democrats, Manchin, that would kind of flirt with the Republicans, I would say that, or at least be bipartisan on major issues. But you got Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro over there. He went on national television, and he basically admitted what a lot of us were saying for quite some time, for several years now. And that's the Democratic Party is heading for a fight over its own identity. And he's right. I mean, this all started after New York Democratic primary voters nominated Democratic Socialists, that's DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, Chevalier. Daria, you know how to pronounce her first name?
I have no idea, but all I know is she's crazy and loves to post
Crazy
the dumbest things you could ever see on Twitter and all over social media. I don't know how they thought it was a good idea to elect her. It's so she's special. Let's just say that.
So he didn't. Yeah. There you go. She's special.
Yes.
She's a little Louisiana, bless your heart. a Southern, bless your heart. All right, so Governor Shapiro, you kind of think maybe he toes the line. I don't know, but he didn't come out there with some kind of line like, "Well, the voters have spoken." He didn't do that. He said he has profound differences with her, which may be a great strategic move for running for president of the United States, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the Democrat Party saying, "Who the heck are these people? These guys are way out there, way radical." He said they don't share these extremos, and Ms. Chevalier says Ms. Chevalier and himself, they don't share the same values. It's two Democrats. And then he said something that really caught my attention. Look, check this out. He said that this is the biggest battle, meaning identity, over what Democrats believe since 1992. What? There were some things going on in 1992. Just had 12 years of Republican leadership coming off of Reagan. Bush won. Ross Perot comes in. Bush took a while to announce he was running for re-election. You had Buchanan coming in there, throwing some water on some fires. I mean, think about all that, though. Then you had Bill Clinton come. I mean, if you saw some of the commercials Bill Clinton ran in 92 and 96, you'd swear he's a Republican. Tough on crime, secure borders, all the things.
I really think he said that to make himself seem like Bill Clinton. He wants to be the next Bill Clinton.
Oh, he does.
He wants to basically make people seem as the common sense guy who can come in and beat the Republicans, just like Bill Clinton was in 92. That's his reason. But the problem right now is that his party is being controlled by people like Mom Donnie, who's bringing these DSA candidates in.
Yeah.
Who are crazy. You thought Democrats were crazy before that? Nancy Pelosi's a moderate compared to these people.
Like, big time.
Crazy.
That tells you something. See, Nancy Pelosi controlled the squad. She was able to do that. I'm telling you, she was able to. Maybe not now. I don't know, but we'll see. But this wasn't. Here's the thing. This wasn't Trump saying that. That's the big takeaway. This wasn't Trump saying it. This is and it wasn't Fox News saying it. This was Josh Shapiro, Democrat governor of Pennsylvania. And who's widely viewed as one of the more, like we're saying, politically moderate figures in his party. I do think he's positioned himself, as you said. So, all right, we'll cover this topic. We'll wrap a bow on this and so much more when we get back. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Man, let me tell you about my friends over there at Indoor Recreation Company. Indoor Recreation, right on Rue Louis the 14th here in Lafayette, Louisiana, right off of Collie Saloon. Indoor Recreation. Look, whether you're dreaming of a beautiful pool table, a classic arcade game, pretty cool stuff, by the way, shuffleboard, foosball, air hockey, darts, pub furniture, or even a massage chair, man, they got it. They got it all. Look, and if you already own a pool table, they also handle expert recovering, recushioning, moving. They'll level it, they deliver, they install over there at Indoor Recreation Company with more than 35 years of experience serving South Louisiana. Trust the pros at Indoor Recreation Company. Stop by 211 Rue Louis the 14th or call them 984-1625. It's time to bring the fun home. Hey, and by the way, you want to know where your kids are? Build a game room and build it from Indoor Recreation Company right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, servicing all of South Louisiana. Go check my friends out. Tell Jonathan and crew Josh said hello. All right, so we're talking about Governor Shapiro over there, and he's basically calling the far, far, far left too much, too extreme. I mean, this is a strong candidate for the nominee of the Democrat Party for president, okay? I mean, because here's the question. If Josh Shapiro thinks his own party has drifted so far, that it needs a once in a generation fight over its values, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells me this isn't something made up like some kind of conservative talking point anymore. This actually is real, and people are seeing it. I mean, the Democrat Party of Bill Clinton was not a socialist party. It just wasn't. I mean, the Democratic Party of John Kennedy wasn't a socialist party. I mean, you could disagree with them on taxes, on spending, on regulation for sure, and social issues, but they still largely operated within the same framework as the rest of America. But today, geez, the loudest voices in the party are talking about democratic socialism. You can be democratic in socialism for maybe one or two elections. I heard, anyway. But all of this, democratic socialism, they want to abolish ICE. I mean, this is the loudest voices in the DNC, the loudest voices in the Democrat Party. They want to dramatically expand federal government. You know, you got some Republicans wanting to do that too. Not as extreme, and it's not in bad faith. It's with good intentions. But remember, these guys leave, but they never take their power with them. They just leave the power. So the next folks that come in just use the power in a way that maybe we don't like. They want to redefine policy and policing over there on the far left. They want to eliminate policing, basically. They want to embrace an ever-growing list of ideas that would have been political poison just a decade ago. Or maybe not a decade ago, a generation ago. Just one generation ago. I mean, 92 was, 34 years ago. Jeez. Yeah, generational. But there's another fascinating part, too. The moderates aren't arguing with Republicans. Like, let's chew on that for a little bit. They're arguing with their own base. And I don't know how big that base is. It's a loud one. The Democratic Socialists, they're loud. But I don't know. You got the moderates in that party now basically arguing with them, arguing with their own base. That's the story. You know, Shapiro isn't worried about convincing conservatives, not right now. He's worried about convincing Democrats. You know, the center of gravity inside of his party keeps moving further and further and further to the left. Now, this doesn't mean that every Democrat is a socialist. It's just ironic that every socialist is a Democrat. I'm just saying. But of course not everyone. That would be lazy analysis, and I wouldn't do that to you. Millions of Democrats. I mean, Shapiro gets this. Millions of Democrats, are ordinary Americans. They go to work, they raise families, they love this country, for the most part. They disagree with the Republicans on some policy. Hey, fine, whatever. Okay, that's politics. Don't do that in Louisiana because you will be indicted on malfeasance, okay? But here's the problem for Democratic leadership, Lane. Primary voters don't always look like general election voters. They don't. The people who dominate primaries are often the most passionate activists, and I am calling that with a nice tongue, okay? I'm being kind. I'm being kind. These passionate activists, some say extreme, usually pull the party towards the edges, not the center. The general election will do that. I mean, Republicans deal with that. Democrats deal with that. Not even saying it's necessarily wrong. You should have diversity of thought. Like in our party, you could argue sometimes I'm extreme. I'm a big fan of limiting the federal government. I'm a big fan of balancing your budget. I'm a big fan of letting local governments take charge of 90% of the issues. The other 5% with the other 8% with the state, and the 2% with the federal government, or something like that. I don't think we should spend more than we can afford. if you take debt, you got to be able to service that debt where it doesn't hurt you. All debt's not bad. You need debt sometimes. I get it, but it can't be like we're doing right now. So yeah, maybe you call me an extremist. I believe that we should have a border. I think that you should deport illegal immigrants. I'm not trying to be cruel, and I'm okay with the prioritization like the president's doing. Start with the most violent criminals and work your way down. Offer voluntary deportations. That's been working, and it's fantastic. So yeah, but the difference between that, right, like all of that, and right now with these Democrats, leadership, is that the Democrat Party, okay, right now appears to be having a much bigger identity crisis than in 1992. I'll tell you that. But 1992, yes, it had it. But I think Governor Shapiro just basically admitted it. Guys, that's all the time we have today. I had such a blast. Thank you for being with us. Be careful out there. May God bless you.